All right, ladies and gentlemen. This is Jay, host of the Technical File Podcast and host of the SJP Files, brought to you by Anchor. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. It's free. There are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and any other podcast you listen to. You can make money from your podcast, no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Once again, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
It's time! Round now say the same thing. They chasing the fame. They got one the name. But they ain't got what's running through these veins. Make way for the king. Make way for the kingdom. The king me. Checkmate.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Technical File Podcast. I'm your host, Jay, and today we're going over Game 4 of the NBA Finals. Ben Simmons up on trade discussions and NBA draft, which I'm not going to get quite into yet until after the NBA Finals. Hold up. There we go. That's better. And Richard Sherman getting arrested for some nonsensical stupidity. I honestly don't get what the hell is going on with this whole thing. But let's get to the main topic. Phoenix Suns, Milwaukee Bucks. Bucks tie up the series 109-103. Series is tied up 2-2. Milwaukee gets this game down in the fourth quarter, and this game was so weird. The Phoenix Suns led for the majority of this game. They led for the majority of this game. Like, I'm going to say like 38 minutes, give or take, something like that. Led for about almost 38 minutes. I think it's like 37 minutes, 52 seconds, something like that. But yeah, they led for the majority of this game. Jay Crowder, 15 points. DeAndre Ayton only has 6 points, but he has 17 rebounds. Devin Booker showed out tonight. I mean, he showed out in game 4. Just a fantastic game. 42 points. He had about 38 at the end of, he had about 38 at the end of 3. He would easily got 50 if he didn't get in foul trouble. Chris Paul had a really bad game. He did have 10 points, 7 assists, but he also had 4 turnovers, 4 fouls. He was 5 for 13 from the field. Mikal Bridges only gave you 7 points. Cam Johnson gave you 10 points off the bench. Cameron Payne gave you 9 points off the bench, and Torrey Craig gave you 4 points off the bench. And that's for the Milwaukee Bucks. Chris Middleton shows up once again, 40 points. After, I mean, Chris Middleton, he is so streaky. He'll give you like 2 fantastic games, and then he'll give you a game that makes you scratch your head and go like, what the fuck is going on? But Chris Middleton had 40. Giannis, 26 and 14. He was a little off tonight. He was a little off tonight. Drew Holiday is stay off. 13 points, 4 for 20 from the field. PJ Tucker, 30 minutes, 0 points. 0 for 1. Good God. Brook Lopez gave you 14 points. Pat Connaughton gave you 11 points off the bench. Bobby Portis was non-existent. Jeff Teague was non-existent. I mean, this is a game Phoenix should have won, and I think Phoenix would have won this game if not for a couple things happening in the Raw. You know, Devin Booker had 4 fouls going into – he had 4 fouls, I believe, at the end of the third quarter. Yeah, he had 4 fouls, I believe, at the end of the third quarter. Let me see that. Let me pull up the third quarter on this one. Yeah, he had 2 fouls in the third quarter. I think he had 4 fouls by the end of the third quarter. 5th, or is that beginning of the fourth quarter? I forget. But he's being guarded by PJ Tucker. Bounces the ball off PJ Tucker's foot. The referee calls it the wrong way. Says it's off Booker's foot. Replay clearly see it's off PJ's foot. So come down on the end of the court. shot goes up. I think it was Drew Holiday who put the shot up. Going for the rebound. PJ Tucker trying to swim his way in for the rebound. He bumps, or Devin Booker tries to box him out. I think PJ flopped like a motherfucker. PJ flops. Devin Booker gets his 5th foul. And a guy who's got 38 at the end of 3 has 5 fouls in the 4th quarter. And he sits for, I'm trying to remember how long he sat for. He sat for about 5 minutes. Because he played the final 7 minutes of the quarter. But I think that 5th foul got him so out of rhythm. It got him out of rhythm. He had 20 at the end of the half. He had 18 in the 4th quarter alone. He was really the only offense that they had. And Devin Booker did something that was like shockingly stupid. I mean, just what? Was shockingly stupid. On a fast break, he intentionally fouls Drew Holiday with 5 fouls. He intentionally fouls him, and the refs don't call it. And although I want Phoenix to win, I'm sitting there going, "What? We just not gonna call that one? That's what we doing? We just not gonna call that foul, because that's like a clear path foul. That's an intentional foul. We just not gonna call that one. That's what we doing." And then a little bit later, same thing, almost the same thing happens. He challenges a fast break. Booker, and that one doesn't get called. Yeah, sure. That's one of the ones he went straight up. So that's not one you should call. But still, we just not going to call for his last 6 foul. I feel like the refs were so afraid to call a 6th foul on Booker because I felt like they knew they were going to get eviscerated in the media for like changing the course of this game or some shit, or changing the course of NBA history. They could have changed the course of NBA history anyway. In like the stupidest way. Devin Booker, that was ridiculous. And for someone who had such a phenomenal game, he shot 60% from the field. This was his first over 50% shooting performance since he broke his nose against the Clippers. That's got to be what, 6 games? Ouch. Because he broke his nose in game 2. They played 4 more games. So yeah, it's been like 8 games actually since Booker was able to shoot 50% from the field. And now we're tied 2-2 going back to Phoenix. Now, I thought Phoenix was going to win this game. And if Chris Paul had had a good game, they would have won this game because Giannis was uncharacteristically off. He wasn't off tonight, but he was a little weird. It was a little weird that he wasn't that aggressive. I mean, he was putting up some bad shots. He only had 8 free throws compared to, I think, 17 he had. I think 17 he had in the previous 2 games. I think it was 17 each. Check to make sure. But let's see. Giannis, yeah, he had 17 in game 3. And oh, hold on, wrong way. Sorry. And 18 in game 2. But he only had 8, so 10 less free. So essentially 10 less free throws each game, which was very incredibly strange that he was not as aggressive as I thought he'd be. But Chris Middleton, what you gonna do with Chris Middleton? Chris Middleton doing Chris Middleton things yet again. What else is there to say about Chris Middleton? Chris Middleton, game 1, 29 points. Chris Middleton, game 2, 11 points. Chris Middleton, game 3, 18 points. Chris Middleton, game 4, 40. If I'm a Bucks fan, Chris Middleton is aggravating as all hell. He is aggravating as all hell because him and Drew Holiday. Well, Drew Holiday hasn't really been consistent. He's been consistently bad on the offensive end, great defensively. I think he's starting to wear. I think you've heard this a lot, but I honestly think it's true. I think he's starting to wear Chris Paul down. I think he's just trying. I honestly think he's just starting to wear Chris Paul down. And as for Drew Holiday, man, he's not inconsistent. Drew Holiday, I know I've said before he's inconsistent. He's not inconsistent. What Drew Holiday is consistently bad on offense. He'll have 2, 3 bad games in a row in the playoffs. 2 or 3 bad shooting performances, great on defense, bad shooting performance, good playmaking, bad shooting on defense, maybe hit a couple big shots in the fourth quarter. Well, all in all, bad shooting performances throughout the playoffs, but occasionally come up with like a just really good game. He will just occasionally show out on a good game. And as for Chris Middleton, around like game 3, he'll have a good game in game 1 or 2, and then game 3, 4, and maybe 5 just show out with like a couple really good performances. Game 5, I expect Phoenix to win. I still have Phoenix in 6, but after watching the first 4 games of the series, this is probably going to go 7. I think Phoenix will win game 5. Milwaukee will win game 6, and then it'll be down 1 game, game 7 in Phoenix, which I think would be great for the NBA. I think this is a great series for the NBA. You got a lot of new, young blood making a name for themselves. DeAndre Ayton making a name for himself right now. Now, offensively, he's kind of been hit and miss, but defensively, rebounding, he's been playing very well, staying out of foul trouble for the most part. Devin Booker, 2 really good games, 1 really bad game, 1 okay game. But he got 42. This was a like superstar making performance. Now, Devin Booker is not a superstar. He's not a superstar. He's a star, but he's not a superstar. There's only one true, actually 2. Let me say that. I almost said 1. 2 true superstars in this series, and their names are Chris Paul and Giannis Antetokounmpo. Giannis is the younger superstar, but Chris is a superstar. But Chris Paul is a superstar. One of the hallmarks for a superstar, very simple. If you have a bad game, because I think it was Nick Wright who said this. Shout out to Nick Wright on First Things First. I think it was Nick Wright. If you have a bad game, do we eviscerate you? Or do we just, brush it under the rug? And with Chris Paul, he had a bad game. He had a really bad game, and we were talking it up. And Devin Booker had a bad game in game 3, and not a lot of people mentioned it. I mean, it wasn't one of like the leading stories on any of first or second leading stories on any of the on any other sports shows anybody was watching. It really wasn't. It was just kind of him. Yeah, he had a bad game, but nobody was really eviscerating him for it. People mentioned it, but nobody was really eviscerating the guy for it. I think he's a fantastic young player who's having a fantastic game. Now, what I can say is about the whole. Now, Chris Paul, I do think he's going to get him a ring this year. I still got Phoenix, and I'm not changing my mind. I think Phoenix should have won this game. I think Milwaukee got lucky with that foul against Devin Booker, and I think Phoenix got lucky with that foul not being called on Devin Booker for his 6th. But it still didn't really matter because he was so tentative on the offensive end after that he was so out of sync that that 5th foul just took him out of his game, and it pissed him off, and I think it unbalanced him, and I think he was done after that. Now, Team USA needs to replace Bradley Beal because he got hit with COVID after Team USA has essentially, I think they went 2-2 in the exhibition games. But they got beat by Nigeria and Australia. I haven't really talked about it because I don't really care. Because the World Championships and the Olympics don't really mean much to me for basketball anyway. Because NBA, the U.S. is so far and away the best basketball country. The only problem is that sometimes these international teams have so much continuity. They've been together for years. The NBA, essentially, they don't throw a team together like they used to, just take out the best players. But the team changes quite frequently. With the United States team, you have a lot of, same faces, but you still got a lot of, but you still on occasion got a lot of new people. And sorry, you still got a lot of new people. And for these other teams, like the Australian team, those guys have played together for years in international competition. And US doesn't really do international competition. We just send people out there and they get waxed. And they just wax people. We send people out there and they fucking wax dudes. That's just how it is. Now the Ben Simmons, what was it? Bleacher Report put out the best Ben Simmons trade offers that Philadelphia will probably get. All right, let's see. Let's get the first trade in. CJ McCollum and a 2023 first round pick for Ben Simmons is not enough. I like CJ, not enough. Like if it was Dame straight up for Ben Simmons, which honestly isn't enough from Philly's side, because why would I just want Ben Simmons for Dame Lillard? I need Ben Simmons and some picks or another player. Or give me Matthias Thybulle and Tyrese Maxey and Ben Simmons, and I'll give you Dame Lillard. I would consider that. But I'm not doing CJ McCollum and a 2023 first round pick for Ben Simmons. You got to throw in more picks for that. You got to throw in more picks to get that done. That's off rip. You got to. I like CJ, but no. That's not a good trade. I'm not doing that. That's a bad trade for Philly. Ooh, excuse me. Sorry about that. Richard Sherman was booked at 6:08 a.m. on, when was this? The 14th. Yeah, Wednesday for, domestic abuse or violence, burglary, domestic violence. He did get released without bail, so he's not being charged for a felony. But what the fuck is going on with all these guys? Dwayne Haskins got his ass whooped by his wife, which was fucking hilarious. I'm not gonna lie, that was fucking hilarious. But I'm gonna do like kind of like a new segment on this show. The kind of like the LeBron segment of my show. Kind of, yeah. I'm a Bron guy. Bron is the GOAT guy, so I got a Bron segment on my show right now. The Kevin Durant quote: "We broke LeBron in the, what was it, 2010? I think it was the 2010 Eastern Conference. Was it semifinals? Might have been the Eastern Conference semifinals. It might have been the East Finals. I'm not sure. But yeah, we broke LeBron. I remember when KD said that. KG said that a couple years ago. Meanwhile, LeBron averaged 30 points, essentially 7 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steals, and a block. It's the stupidest thing I ever heard. I remember when he said that. I remember when they said that they broke him. And then if the Dallas Mavericks, like Dirk Nowitzki said, we broke LeBron in that NBA Finals, I would say that. I was like, okay, I can't disagree with that because LeBron was terrible. Was terrible in that NBA Finals. And I love like, hey, we crushed them, and LeBron James essentially spent like the next 2 to 3 years beating the ever living shit out of you while he was in Miami. You take 3 Hall of Famers on one team and against 3 Hall of Famers on another team. Yeah, my Hall of Famers are younger, but it's still 3-3. And my guy essentially spends the next 3 years beating the ever living shit out of you, dunking on you. I still remember the no regard for human life dunk on Kevin Garnett. And LeBron, that was one of like the first real times where LeBron showed just how fucking clutch he actually is. Not the media, not the fucking like media facsimile of how unclutch he is. Despite the fact he's got one of the best clutch percentages in NBA history, has hit some of the biggest, if not some of the biggest, and some of the most clutch shots in NBA history. He's got 5 playoff game winners, while nobody else has more than 3. But he's not clutch. This is the Kevin Garnett old man get off my lawn bullshit. He's one of those guys. I think he's still salty. I don't think he's one of those guys who's like, oh, you'll never be better than Jordan, like Stephen A's bum ass. But I think he's one of those guys who's like, okay, I'm never going to give this guy that kind of credit because he's still salty about Ray Allen leaving to go to Miami and kind of breaking up that big three. Ray Allen left to go to Miami to get him another ring. He's got two. You've got one. It sucks for you. And Ray Allen hit one of the biggest shots in NBA history in that corner in Game 6, I believe it was. I can't remember if it was the tie or win that game. I believe it was the win. Might have been the tie. Might have been the win. I forget sometimes. I remember the shot. I can't remember the circumstances around it sometimes. But he beat him. He beat y'all. He beat y'all. If we don't talk about who broke what, LeBron broke y'all. Because after he beat you for 2 years in 2011 and then in 2012, guess what? In 2013, one of your guys left to join him. Yes, Ray Allen left y'all, went down to Miami, got him a second ring. And to this, and y'all still salty, but y'all still so salty about that to this day, y'all still don't fuck with Ray Allen. And look, and you broke LeBron. Get the hell out of here. I love Kevin Garnett. I love his game. I think he's one of like the first real like stretch fours in the game, like true stretch four who had a consistent mid-range game. Should have left Minnesota a hell of a lot earlier, and he might have had more championships than one. But he left by the time he left Minnesota, he was like 10 plus years in, I think. And it was over. He was done. And yeah, I see the look on your face on Twitter, motherfucker. It's over. We broke. I ain't break shit. Can't stand that shit. All right, that's it for today's episode. I gotta start getting ready for work. But we'll be covering game 5. Game 5, which I believe happens tomorrow night on the 17th. Ladies and gentlemen, that is it for this episode of Technophile Podcast. Remember to like, subscribe, share, leave us reviews on whatever podcast app you listen to. Remember to give us 5 stars. If you give us 4 stars, I'm inclined to believe you are a hater.
What you know about rolling down in the deep? When your brain goes numb, you can call that mental freeze. When these people talk too much, put that shit in slow motion. Yeah, I feel like an astronaut in the ocean. Ay, what you know about rolling down in the deep? When your brain goes numb, you can call that mental freeze. When these people talk too much, put that shit in slow motion.